Okay, I just started the recording. So I'm going to go through the general meeting instructions. Welcome to the Commonwealth Council on Aging's Best Practices Awards Committee meeting. Due to the active state of emergency from the COVID-19 pandemic, this is an electronic meeting pursuant to item 4-0.01G of the 2021 Appropriation Act and 2.2 -3708.2A3 of the Code of Virginia. Meeting notice has been provided. This meeting is being recorded and minutes are being taken. All votes will be conducted via a roll call of voting members. Meeting materials are posted under the Council on Aging's webpage at the link posted on the agenda. Members of the public are able to access the meeting via a Zoom public link. Please be advised if the public access is interrupted, we'll have to pause the meeting till it's restored. Public comment will be accepted during today's meeting at that point on the agenda. And I want to thank Tanya Brinkley for helping with the logistics of the scoring and the spreadsheet. Cecily for helping with meeting notices, and David Rodenheiser and the other VTC staff for helping with the Zoom setup. In the interest of time, I'm going to conduct a simple roll call for the committee members to determine if a quorum is present for today's meeting. When your name is called, please indicate your presence. Jennifer DeSano.
Present. Shall I tell you where I am calling in from, or do you need that?
I will need, you don't have to say it on the Zoom. I'll have to put it in the minutes.
I'll send it to you. Okay.
Okay. You know what? Actually, I don't need it because it's a state of emergency meeting, not
Okay.
a regular meeting.
Thank you.
I don't see Tresserlin. Has she joined? Oh, no, there she is. Tresserlin Kelly. Tresselyn, I think you're muted.
Good morning. Sorry, I was having technical difficulties.
That's okay. Diana Pagawa.
Here, present.
Tina Sabla.
Present.
Jay White.
Present.
And ex officio Beverly Sobel.
Present.
Okay. There is a quorum present. Also attending today's meeting from DARS is myself, Charlotte Arbogast, Cecily Slazer, and like I said, David Rodenheiser is helping us with the Zoom. I'm going to skip through these. Okay, so at this time, we need to approve the agenda. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda, or can the agenda be approved by consensus? So I just need to know if anybody has any changes.
No.
Charlotte, are you sharing your screen? Because I'm not able to see it. I just see that you're sharing something.
Does anybody else see my screen?
No.
It's just black, Charlotte.
Okay. I think that might be because of my settings from the docking station. So I will not be able to share my screen today. So hopefully you have your handouts in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. So hearing no changes to the agenda, we will approve the committee will approve the agenda by consensus. The next thing we need to do is to elect a committee chair for this year's awards. As you may remember, Dr. Catherine Reed chaired the committee last year. Jennifer DeSano, Diana Pagawa, and Jay White are returning to the committee, and also joining the committee this year are Tresselyn Kelly and Tina Savla. So for the position of chair today, I can help lead the logistics of the meeting, but really the chair will be, what I need from a chair is someone who will present the best practices winners at the next Council on Aging meeting, who will sign the letters that will go out to the applicants, the nominees today. I have the letters drafted and I can do either an image scan of your signature or we can discuss just a word, a cursive text signature. A quote for the best practices press release, and then to be able to participate in any ceremony recognitions or webinars. So that's kind of the role of the chair. You can volunteer or you can nominate someone, but obviously nominated members should consent to that. Does anybody want to serve as chair?
I'll be happy to do it if nobody else wants to, but I think, don't we, I know that my term is up. And I'd have to wait and see if I get reselected, right? I mean, I don't want to step up if somebody else has more time on their term.
So that's kind of the situation that actually Dr. Reed was in last year. And so we kind of viewed it, since you chaired the decision-making process when it happened, that you could continue doing sort of the public stuff if you would like, and just in case you didn't get reappointed.
Let me just ask one more question, Charlotte. When do you expect the award ceremony to happen? Because I do travel for work, so. Before the pandemic, they were done in person in May during Older Virginians and Older Americans Month. During the pandemic, we did virtual webinar, and that was fluid when that happened. And I'd like to maybe reach out to the Virginia Association of Area Agencies on Aging to see if we can get in with them for their Governor's Conference on Aging webinar series. So that would be kind of dependent on when they can fit us in. And then I was going to reach out to the winners this year to see who felt comfortable with an in-person ceremony or not, and then when they would like to do it. So. Okay. May is usually okay, but I'm only, I want to let anyone else step up if they prefer to do it. So anyone else?
I'll be a backup for you in the
Thank
event
you.
you're traveling or you can't fulfill that role.
Here in Northern Virginia, I can help also. I mean, if to attend the event.
That'd be great. Yeah, usually we invite all of the committee members to each ceremony if they were in person, and then people usually kind of pick based on the proximity to their where the district they represent or their location in the state. Okay, so Jennifer, I'm not hearing anybody else clamoring for it. Are you comfortable with?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to do it.
Okay. Do I have a motion for Jennifer's?
I have a motion for Jennifer.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Any further discussion or nominations? Okay, I'm gonna have to do a roll call for this vote. And so Jennifer, you can vote.
Aye.
Tresserlin,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
Jay.
Aye.
So it's unanimous. So Jennifer, I'll need to touch base with you after this is over, the meeting's over.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
Oh, okay, go, that's fine. I'm gonna look at my calendar, see if I have something after this.
Okay. All right. Do
Okay,
you-
yeah. that's fine.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna continue if you want going through the meeting or.
Sure.
Okay, so next on the agenda, you have your March meeting minutes. Are there any corrections to the March 2021 meeting minutes?
No.
Hearing no changes, those can be approved by consensus as well. Next on the agenda is the public comment period. And David, just confirming there's nobody in the attendees. Oh, I think he hopped off.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's no one there. It says 0 attendees.
okay, thank you. And I did not get any written public comment. Okay, so now we're going on to the overview of the process and the scoring report. So again, this year, we're pleased to report that Dominion has been approved to sponsor the Best Practices Awards. So we'll have $5,000 for first place, $3,000 for second place, and $2,000 for third place. As you know, these financial awards are helpful to organizations and programs during normal years, but they've been really instrumental as these organizations and programs continue with dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. The request for nominations for the 2022 Best Practices Awards opened in January. We shared it out widely, and the nominations were due March 1st, or no. Yeah. The Best Practices Committee is meeting today to make award decisions. You have in front of you, or you should have as a handout, the top 10 ranking of the nominations. Again, for those members who had to refrain from scoring some of the proposals due to conflicts of interest, the nominees were not penalized in any way for that. The scoring accounts for the number of committee members who were able to score each proposal. So you have those top 10 in front of you. And at this time, I think I can turn it over to Jennifer, or generally is opportunity for folks to discuss the awards. And if you would like, I can read a little blurb about the top 10. Just let me know how you would like to.
So Charlotte, let me just refresh my memory. I think we have basically 3 awards.
3 monetary awards.
Three monetary awards.
And then usually there are a few honorable mention programs.
Okay, so I think last year, because of COVID and the extraordinary effort that people put forth, we ended up honorably mentioning everybody who didn't get a monetary award. Was that correct?
No, I think we did, I want to say 6 honorable mentions that were in the close range, perhaps. I'd have to double check, but it wasn't all, because last year we got like 21 applicants.
Okay,
This year
yes.
we have 23, so I know we didn't do everybody.
Okay, so look, we could, maybe as a group, we could say the high scorers would correlate to the awards. And then the rest would be, or that we might want to go through as we talk about each of these, which of the maybe 3 or 4 extra ones would be honorable mention. But yeah, I guess why don't we start with the first one, Charlotte?
Okay, so the top ranking program this year was NV Rides, which is a network of volunteer ride programs serving seniors and persons with disabilities in Northern Virginia. NV Rides operates in Arlington, Loudoun, Fairfax, and Prince William counties, and is a partnership of 15 organizations, including community centers, shepherd centers, and faith-based organizations that provide free rides to seniors. NV Rides supports volunteer transportation by coordinating rides, marketing, software, volunteer recruitment, and background checks to the partner organizations. They provide rides for seniors who wish to age in place. And since the COVID-19 pandemic, NV Rides is now also providing contactless deliveries from grocery stores, pharmacies, and food banks. So that's the first one. The second ranking program was Virginia Tech and the New River Valley Agency on Aging with COVID Companions, which is a program that started in early 2021 to connect older adults and community members during the COVID-19 pandemic. Older adults are provided with a tablet if they would like, and a resource guide
so they can connect over video or their phone with their companion. And some even meet outside on the porch of the older adult's residence. Older adults are matched with a community member with whom they are in contact with on a weekly basis. The program started with volunteers, most of whom were Virginia Tech students, but it has been expanded to some faculty and community members in the surrounding area. The program was created to curb older adult loneliness during a time of social isolation. The program will continue post-pandemic as a way to connect community members and form intergenerational connections, with the goal of creating intergenerational bridge to decrease negative stigmas and help older adults maintain or improve their mental health. The third ranked program was NVRC Deaf Seniors Stay Connected, which is a hosted online chat program free for deaf seniors and ASL college students or interpreters to converse virtually using ASL, which I should say is American Sign Language, in an informal but structured atmosphere. A new topic is introduced each week by a facilitator who is paid by NVRC. And NVRC stands for the Northern Virginia Resource Center for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Persons. NVRC also hosts the Zoom account. The goal of the program is to ensure that deaf seniors feel less isolated and more connected, especially if they are homebound and unable to participate in community activities. Deaf seniors who rely on ACL often cannot access many community-based programs. And so the NVRC Deaf Seniors Stay Connected believes that this program reduces feelings of isolation, and it connects deaf seniors and helps them socialize while providing meaningful language practice for students of ASL.
Okay, why don't we start with the top ranking NV rides? I know this program. I live in Northern Virginia. It's been a tremendous help to seniors and also seniors helping seniors. In many cases, we have older adults who are driving older adults places through this program. So it's a very strong program. I really like the replication factor with this one because you can pretty much, they've demonstrated that if you can get a neighborhood together, you can start this kind of thing. So I'm very happy to see it ranked #1.
I agree with Jennifer because I also live in Northern Virginia, and here is extremely hard to get transportation, and I love this. I also was my #1, and definitely I love the replication and using volunteers. I think it will be amazing. I hope that this is #1.
I just also want to say that I think that given gas prices are going to be on the rise, I'm not sure how whether they reimburse for the gas for the rides, but it should help the organization with the award.
The two things that I really appreciated of this program is it being multilingual drivers, which was really very, very nice to see, but also the collaboration among different agencies in coming together to create this program. Very impressive. So I'm glad to see it ranked so high.
I would say that I think the program is great. I was not sure how to vote on the programs in regard to transportation because I know several organizations in my area are trying to do that as well because of the limited access. So for them to be able to do it is great. Jennifer, the money factor is huge, especially with the gas prices going up even further. So if we could assist and help, in that aspect, for additional gift cards and things, that would be great.
If we were to collectively come up with some inspirational words in appreciation of this, I mean, I'm going to have to give a quote. So if there's anything other than what's been said already, that anyone would like to add that we can use to develop a nice congratulatory quote and the impact that this organization has. You can either email it to me or Charlotte, and we'll throw something together that really is impactful from the committee.
I would say unique.
Okay, good. That's actually a good idea. The anyone have one word that they could use to describe this award or this this particular program? Unique is from Diana.
Replicable.
Okay. Impactful, I would say. Anybody else?
Sustaining.
I thought it was innovative. I felt like there were a lot of applications that were COVID related, but they were often about educating folks to use technology. And so I found this a little refreshing and innovative.
Okay, great. Our ex officio doesn't want to contribute a word.
No, I'm really pleased with the discussion and the decision so far.
Okay. So do we need to vote on this one as our number one choice, or do we work through the three and then pick the number one? I mean, ranking wise, it's number one.
So just wanted to, two things. Just want to let you know, we do have somebody from the public viewing the meeting now is an attendee. And two, since we have to do roll call, in order to not have to do so many roll call votes, I would recommend you either batch like the monetary ones together and the honorable mentions, or batch them all at the end,
Okay.
the one vote.
Okay. I think this nominated as number one, so we'll hold and we'll talk about Virginia Tech, or I'm sorry, yes, Virginia Tech and the New River Valley Agency. We want to overview of that. Does anyone want to start on that one? That was number 7.
That was my number 2. Also, I love the fact that the students are helping, and I like that it's a collaboration with Virginia Tech, is replicable. So that was my number 2. So I am glad. I mean, doing good. Thank you.
And I was in conflict, but of course, I love this program.
Well, I mean, it's highly replicable. Any university could gather students and do this. I think it's a terrific way to connect people intergenerationally, of course. And, you know, to stave off the loneliness factor that even without COVID, that older adults tend to feel.
I think the intergenerational part spoke to me the most. Because when I think about that, that leads towards perpetuity and things lasting for a very long time. And the young adults passing that on as they become parents, you know, to make sure, because that's going to be so meaningful part of their lives. So I think that's what speaks to me anytime I see that intergenerational piece, that collaboration. I think is great.
And I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I wonder how many of our university students have grandparents, you know, around, and it's nice that they can talk to an older adult. It helps to alleviate ageism. And there could be some sage advice passed down between the, you know, the older adult and the young individual who is getting a benefit themselves. It's not just I'm going to call an older person to make them feel better. There's a communication happening between the two parties, and there's a mutual gain. And I think that's terrific. Okay, anyone want to give a one word to this? I would say communication.
I think we've already said it, intergenerational.
I think that I like that one.
Okay. All right, Northern Virginia Resource Center for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Persons.
Okay, so this was actually my number one. But my challenge is, since we have an added lens this year of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or not an added lens, but an enhanced lens, number one and number three are both from Northern Virginia. And we've got other strong applicants from more rural parts of the state. So this is where my conflict was, is that number one and number two were so clearly strong. And number three is my personal favorite. But now we're going to have two from Northern Virginia in the top three. So I'm wondering how other folks feel about our DEI lens here.
We also have a number of number 4, 5, 6, and 7 are very closely ranked to number 3. I think number 2 and number 1 are pretty clearly outranking the rest. But there might be some room to give a little advantage in this in these deliberations to consider the whole Commonwealth and where we can make an impact.
So to Jay's point, I thought number 3 was just, that one kind of blew me out of the park. Just because of the diversity in the subset of the hard of hearing in the deaf community, and being able to address that. That was probably more higher up than the 1 or 2 to me. I just thought that was so inclusive, and especially because that community, it's a smaller community, but it's also a community that's not often looked at or supported.
And I'm kind of curious if folks saw the Lancet Commission's recent publication on midlife hearing impairment and the relation to later life cognitive impairment. That was that's something that just came out, was recently published. So I just wanted to add that.
And I was going to, again, Jay, to say that I know when my mom started with, we wasn't sure if it was Alzheimer's or dementia, some of it they attributed to her hearing loss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I would hate, even I know we have the 3 Northern Virginia top tier, but I would hate to disqualify such a great program just because of the regional and us wanting to be inclusive of the whole state. I think this program can be replicated anywhere throughout the state, and the need for it is so critical that that's just my opinion, but I don't think we should denounce it just because it just happens to have happened in Northern Virginia.
So the next closest awardee would be number 12, which would be Big Stone Gap, which is way on the other side of Virginia. But honestly, I think if we look at our criteria, the replicability is, if it can be replicated, it's going to serve the Commonwealth better because it's going to be something they can implement in their communities around the state. But if we were to look at, I believe, obviously Alexandria would be the next one down, but they're Northern Virginia. Mountain Empire Older Citizens, that, as I said, that's in Big Stone Gap. So if we want to just jump down and take a look at that one, are you suggesting, Jay, that we eliminate either Virginia Tech or Northern Virginia Resource Center in place of, oh, okay, well, would you clarify your suggestion?
Oh, I was just bringing it up for the conversation. If we're looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion, I had a different lens in mind when we were looking at DEI, but none of those lenses really came up. But regionality is certainly a level for DEI consideration. However, I mean, Tresserlin and I are absolutely on the same page about this program. So I think I might, I don't know, I'm torn, and that's why I wanted to bring it up for conversation, is I don't want this program, number 3, not to be recognized. At the same time, I'm very sensitive to 2 Northern Virginia and 1 Southwest program. So I don't know that I have anything other than me running my mouth.
Charlotte, do you have any historical knowledge that can help with this kind of concern? Have you been through this before on the committee?
Well, so I have only been staffing the council for a few years now. I remember, I think in 2020, there was a vote, the committee split the 3rd place award. So $1,000 went to one and $1,000 went to another. So there were 4 monetary winners, so to speak.
I hate to delude the $1,000 doesn't really make much of an impact in the end, you know.
If I may add something to the conversation, the evaluation criteria didn't have to do with regional, location of these programs, and so I feel like that should not be a factor that we should weigh in.
I agree with that. I mean,
I think the criteria did though say something to the effect of replicability so that it could be implemented throughout the Commonwealth. So I think by selecting these 3 awardees, however the optics, I think we have satisfied that, and probably of doing more service to the Commonwealth by doing so than if we were to pick another less replicable program because of its geographic location.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
However, I do see your point, Jay. I do see your point.
And I would also say I represent a region that wasn't selected, but as the representative for that area, the programs that were picked, I feel would be beneficial to my area, to my region of the state.
Okay.
This is Charlotte. If I could also add, I was looking back to see in the details of NVRC's application, but the students are coming from different colleges, 1 in Virginia, and then 2 in Pennsylvania, and 1 in DC, and 1 in North Carolina. And so I guess I'm not entirely sure that what I would say is, because it's a Zoom opportunity, that just because NVRC is based in Northern Virginia, it could be that some of their reach is beyond Northern Virginia in terms of the deaf seniors who are participating. I'm not sure, but I would maybe suspect that given where the students are also coming from.
Well, that's good news. Thank goodness for Zoom, right? Okay. All right. I think we've talked about that enough. Let's go ahead and take the batch of the first 3 awardees as ranked 1, 2, and 3 for the corresponding awards. And do we have a motion to have a vote on that?
So moved.
And a second?
Me.
Thank you, Diana. All in favor? Aye.
I have to do a roll call, actually.
Oh, go ahead. Mhm.
So Jennifer.
Aye.
Oh, sorry, I lost my alphabetical. Tresserlin,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and Jay.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. I think we have 7 remaining contenders. And last year we did honorable mention for 6. Is that what I'm remembering?
No, the minutes say we did it for the 7.
We did it for all the remaining?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's a good, go ahead, Charlotte.
Oh, thank you for looking that up, Tina. I appreciate that. And I
I-
just pulled the top 10.
I think that's a good practice. Just, I mean, these are all fantastic programs. They're very closely ranked with the winners. Does anyone have any comments on the notion of giving each of them honorable mention and perhaps making that sort of our best practice as we move forward, or I mean, just this year? I guess it's up to the chair every year. Any concerns?
No.
I mean, we're still within the pandemic. I mean, the whole point last time we did this was these people went through extraordinary measures to try and provide services in the midst of the pandemic. This is still a reflection of that. I'd be very happy to do that. If you all agree, can someone give us a motion to?
Jennifer,
Oh, go ahead.
I think in the interest of transparency, I should at least read the organization
Oh, go
of the
ahead, I'm
program
sorry.
off. I won't do the whole detail, but let me at least put that on the record.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so the remaining programs include Senior Services of Alexandria with their Senior Ambassador Program, Mountain Empire Older Citizens with their program for leveraging technology to combat isolation during a pandemic and beyond, Insight Memory Care Center for Caregiving at a Glance Workshop and Caregiver Cohort, Arlington Agency on Aging for their pop-up farmers markets, the Southwest Virginia Legal Aid and Southwest Virginia Elder Justice Task Force with Silence Isn't Golden, a public education and awareness campaign about elder abuse, the Longevity Project for Greater Richmond with the Thelma Bland Watson Person-Centered PCA, which is Personal Care Aid School, and Rappahannock Rapidan Regional Commission and Aging Together for their Regional Transportation Collaborative.
Now, I'll just say for my own, you guys, if you want to, you can go through your very own kind of things that really inspired you. I'd have to say the Insight Memory Care Center really inspired me. I was really impressed with the work that they're doing there.
Mhm.
And also the Longevity Project I thought was really excellent. And I was really moved by the work that they're doing with the Longevity Project. So if anybody else has certain stars amongst the list that they would like to mention, please do so.
I would
Jennifer,
like
flattery gets you everywhere.
I would like to speak on Silence is Golden. That program was another one that just kind of like, wow. Just the title alone, when I read that and just thinking about, I used to work with AARP and the fraud program, and to see how many older Americans, especially now, you wouldn't believe with the dating apps.
Yeah.
And being defrauded to send money so I can come see you. And because of the isolation, I was in love with it. So, I'm sorry that it didn't rank higher, but I really just thought that program spoke volumes, and, just that they would continue, apply again next year if they can, to enhance that program. And I think it's definitely reputable, throughout the state.
Mhm.
Anything from San Diego is okay by me. I love San Diego programs, so that was originated there.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or items you'd like to share on this on these particular candidates?
I thought the pop-up farmers market was also another unique program, which is much needed in a lot of communities. So I thought that was interesting.
I love that program too, those farmers market, because I know that there is a lot of people that cannot afford to buy fresh fruits and things like that. So I thought that I hope that that program will be replicated because it's really, really needed.
Just curious if anybody else saw this. There's so many of these applications that there, but for the grace of God go I, are one person, and they're and I love that. And I love that there are one or a small group of people, but it doesn't really speak to replicability and sustainability. So I just wish that moving forward, Madam Chair, I wonder if we could just think about ways to offer best practices for replicability and sustainability in the application. So people can be thinking about that rather than, well, in addition to the wonderful motivation and tireless efforts clearly of these small groups of folks, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had a similar conversation last year about intentionality of either getting the word out about these programs a little bit more, that and you know, just by virtue of people understanding that people won these awards, and you know, and they're and that they can maybe do this in their own community and getting that word. But yes, I mean, start with the applicant, make sure that the content of the application is expressly saying, you might want to focus really heavily on replicability in your application process, or make sure that's a big, understand that that's going to influence the, you know, the decision making. But Charlotte, when you were working on this last year, we talked about I don't know, advertising or getting the word out to AAAs or different places in Virginia a little bit more intentionally of these programs, so that what other communities could, you know, learn about them.
Yes, so what we have started to do is provide on the website, when we provide a summary of the winning organization and the honorable mention organizations, we provide a contact person at the organization. Should somebody want to reach out to learn more about how to replicate the programs. In your materials today, you should have a dissemination sort of summary about how we try to promote these and share the winners and honorable mentions out. We do a press release. I know in the past, like maybe 2 years ago, one organization was actually working on kind of like a toolkit for replicability. That might be, I mean, for the funding that we're providing, that might be a little bit much to ask of everybody in addition to their nomination. But I think, you know, I'm open to other ways you might suggest that we encourage that or get the word out. I think the webinars have also increased the ability for organizations across the state to learn about these programs, as opposed to previously just doing only the in-person ceremonies, which had a very limited scope in terms of the location in which the program was winning, was where we would go on site. So yeah.
And also, I think that the quality of this year, in my opinion, because I've been doing this for a few years, I think it was better than in previous years. I was really impressed. I don't know if because it was make it easier, the instructions. I know that Charlotte did something, which is, but I see the difference. The quality is a lot better.
Charlotte, last year was a blur for me. So I was part of the team, but with life, I wasn't here. But I think like the year before, and not necessarily, we did something as a council when we went around to the different regions.
Yes. Usually it's a little in-person ceremony or reception.
So we would work with the winning organizations to identify a date and a time that works for them. And then as the committee members are able to attend, we invite you to. Usually we encourage the local organizations to think about if they would like to invite their board, if they have a governing board or an advisory council or board. If they're affiliated with a local government, sometimes they want to invite their local government representatives. And then potentially any sort of volunteers or participants who are maybe involved in the program. We leave that up to the discretion of the programs on site. And I think, again, we would need to definitely do that this year to, based on what people are comfortable with in terms of the pandemic. So yeah, we try to do that. Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking, like, it would be great if when we're putting this out for the awardees and if they win, you suggested the toolkit, which I think is phenomenal, but kind of like putting together a dog and pony show. And it could be virtual, but that way we have something to produce to take into other communities to really get that information out. Because like I said, 2 of the programs, I was just like, oh my gosh, I really enjoyed reading them and just looking at all of the things and seeing how it could be used. So, maybe next year that can be something, we add, that you fill out the application and give it, but you also give us some meat to be able to use, to be able to replicate it, and not just saying, oh, it's replicatable, but then we stop there. If that makes sense.
I'm curious if we can actually ourselves as a committee take a look at the top applicants and do our own thematic analysis of how replicable they are, and then include that in the as a document. Just look at the top themes of what, and I can never say the word, replicability is of all of the programs. It's more work on us, but instead of the onus of replicability being on all,
You mean
on the
define it
applicants.
or give specific examples based on these top ranking candidates? Are you saying create a definition of replicability that we would then attach to any applicant pool?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's good.
A definition and a couple of examples of what replicability looks like.
Okay. I mean, I'd have to work on what that means. I mean, when they demonstrate in the category of replicability, they're basically, I mean, and some of it's pretty obvious. I mean, if you have a very clear-cut program like NV Rides, this is how you do it. Here's your blueprint, and it's take it and do it in your community. I think that's pretty obvious. Can you clarify a little bit more what you think we would need to do?
Well, based on the applicants, I'm not 100% sure that it is that obvious. How can I say this?
Among the top 3, it seems.
Oh, yes,
clear.
yes. Among the top
Right.
3, absolutely. Right. But as we move down in the, these are great programs. I need my third cup of coffee. I know what I want to say. I just want to say it very kindly and very intentionally. I think they would benefit from some very specific examples of how to look at replicability on the front end and operationalize it so it is measurable on the back end.
Okay, well, I think, Jay, let me just say thank you. That's a wonderful goal. And if you could draft up like a few lines and we could start to share them, and maybe we can together come up with kind of help to hone what this idea that you have. And I think it's a great idea. The more material we can get to the applicants, and I think Tesserlin's we want some meat so that it's obvious how to then implement in the community. I mean, say that very straightforward layman's terms in a more constructive way, so that we can get the applicants to give us something that we can seriously implement later, instead of just a phone number and a contact of the leader who might be already overwhelmed, putting their own program on. Maybe as part of the application, they could be giving us something really substantive, at least some sort of blueprint, so that people can take that notion and mold it to their own communities.
I
Okay?
think you said it perfectly, Jennifer, just then, with the
I think this was recorded.
Just with the application, that you submit a blueprint on how this program can be replicated throughout the state. Simple as that.
Mhm. Okay, well, before we continue on with.
Just
Go
offer
ahead.
as a friendly reminder, anything that you wish to circulate among the committee needs to come to me, and then I can send it out. Otherwise, it's a unauthorized meeting.
Yes, please send anything to Charlotte. She'll get it to each of us. So we're coming up on an hour. I do want to be mindful of everybody's time. Does someone want to make a motion to accept the remaining high-ranking folks, the last 7?
I make the motion.
Okay, can you tell me what the motion was? I think for the minutes, we need it for Charlotte. To accept, go ahead, to accept the last 7.
This last 7 as honorable mentions.
Okay, and Charlotte, do you want to take a roll call?
Is there a second?
Oh, we need a second.
Mhm.
A second.
Thank you, Testerlin. But Charlotte will take a roll, and I apologize. I have to follow Robert's rules, I guess. I don't think we officially shifted me to the chair, to the gavel, but go ahead.
Okay, so this is a motion to accept the programs on the ranking 4 to 10 as honorable mentions. Jennifer,
Aye.
Tresserlin,
Aye.
Diana,
Aye.
Tina,
Aye.
and Jay.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Excellent. Good job, everybody. Thank you so much for working on all of those, reading through. It was a pleasure, really, for me. I know. It was actually a relief to only have 23. I just did one with 60.
Oh,
And that was that was a challenge.
Oh my God.
But it's great. It's great to learn about what's going on in the Commonwealth.
So Jennifer, I'll coordinate with you on the outstanding items in terms of the housekeeping for the notices and the planning. And then I'll be in touch with the committee in the coming month or so about plans for either in-person recognition ceremonies or the webinar, a virtual webinar.
Okay, very good. The only date in May that I know I can't make is, well, the 2 dates, the 5th and the 6th. I have meetings. So thank you all again. And I guess we're gonna get a communication from Charlotte, maybe with some language from Jay to consider to revise that section. And if you guys have any other ideas that you can mull over while you're, after this discussion, please share that with Charlotte. We have the opportunity here to innovate and make things different if we need to. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty good process, but I'm always open to, I always like the idea of streamlining things or finding ways to do better business. So,
Charlotte, I just wanted to say, Charlotte, this year it was a lot easier. So I thank you so much for what you have done and all the changes that you have made. It was a lot easier this time. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to, again, thank Cecily and Tanya for all their help behind the scenes. they really are the like Wizard of Oz behind the curtain for me on this. So I appreciate them.
You know, one thing I might recommend, if it's possible, is to do a spreadsheet for the rankings, because then you have it all consolidated and we just send it back to you instead of, oh wait, I'm thinking of my other.
I think we did have a spreadsheet.
No, I'm thinking of my other one. We did it this way. Okay. My other one, we did it a different way. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You did it right. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, thank you so much for your hard work. I know you guys turned that around really fast.
Yeah, we're always trying to work on the timeline. But as you know, it's tight to and with planning coming up for Older Virginians Month being in May of each year, it makes it quick turnaround.
Okay, and if you want my signature, one of the easiest ways to do it is to send me a PDF on a Dropbox link, but we can talk about that offline. That's fine.
Okay, we might have to because I can't use Dropbox.
Oh, well, just a PDF is fine and I can sign it that way.
Okay. Okay, and then I think you if there's no other business, I think you can move to adjourn the meeting. I don't need a motion because we did
Okay,
everything
well,
on the agenda, but
it's lovely to see everybody and take care. I'll move to adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank
Thank
you all.
everybody.
Janet,
Bye.
can you stay on for 1 sec, or Jennifer?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Let me stop the recording.